This story is crafted from the real-life framework of the narrator. Some names and locations may have been altered to protect privacy, but the emotions and experiences are entirely real. The White Bell and Unforgettable Memories. The bell, from Wat Pak Long Mak Kham Tao echo, its sound drifting across the Chao Phraya river to our single-story wooden house. I stood watching the pale morning river before shouldering my travel bag and heading into the city. Take care of yourself, son. My mother's voice called from the kitchen. Bangkok is very different from our home. Yes, mom, I replied briefly, but my heart was pounding. I didn't know what to expect from the life of an afternoon construction trade student that awaited me. A public school in central Bangkok stood imposingly between a famous secondary school and the bustling Siam Square. On the first day of orientation, the principal stood on stage talking about discipline. But what stuck in my ears was the warning from an upperclassman. Remember this well. A second-year student stood in the middle of the assembly hall. See how our uniforms are different from the mechanics? Our white belts are like a challenge on your bodies. If you encounter the mechanics on the bus home, don't even make eye contact. I glanced down at the white belt I was wearing. It seemed too bright in the room filled with over 100 students. Why are they our rivals? The friend next to me whispered. Tradition, the senior replied flatly. It's been this way for many generations. It was already dark when my roommate John and I, fellow student from the 14th afternoon session, had to board the No. 21 bus at the school bus stop. It was almost 8 o'clock. The rumbling old bus carried us past the neon lights of Phaya Thai Road. We have to transfer at Wang Vien Yai, John said as the bus swayed. Aren't you afraid of the mechanics? John let out a dry laugh. I have a friend who got into the mechanics program too. It'll be fine. But those words meant nothing when we got off the bus at Wang Vien Yai and were surrounded by the shadows of 9 figures in navy blue uniforms with black belts and black socks. Hey, construction! One voice rang out. My heart pounded thunderously. A hand shot out and grabbed my collar, while several other hands held iron rods that gleamed under the streetlights. Let my friend go, John shouted. Friend? One from the group stepped forward. John? Boy, John called back in recognition, seeing a glimmer of hope. This is my friend. The confrontation, which lasted over 5 minutes but felt like hours, ended with a negotiation. I need that white belt, said the student mechanic who seemed to be the leader. Otherwise, the seniors will say we haven't accomplished anything. I clutched my belt tightly. My family is poor. If you take it, begging won't help. Please, John tried to persuade them. Please, just this once. Finally, after another moment of heated words, they let us go with dissatisfied expressions. We practically ran onto the number 4 bus that had just pulled up. It's not going to end here, John said as the bus pulled away. The next day, when the seniors found out, a senior, nicknamed Fatty, called a meeting. Tonight, everyone gather at the bus stop. I'll take you there myself. That evening, all 13 of us gathered. Fatty led the way like a pack leader. The No. 21 bus, whether it was the same one or anyone, carried us off again. But this time, some seniors started shortchanging the fare. Collect from the guys in front, a mocking voice rang out. The bus conductor, flushed with anger, walked over and whispered to the driver. Soon, the bus took a suspicious detour. We're not going to Wang Vien Yai, I whispered to John. The bus stopped in front of the Crime Suppression Division police station at Samyok. 2 police officers boarded. Where are the vocational students who didn't pay their fare. We were all ordered off the bus. Tickets were checked, and it turned out there were 17 tickets for 13 people. The officer gave us a stern look. "Next time, make sure to pay properly," he said, seeing right through us. The bus driver shook his head. "Damn hooligans. Let's find another ride," Fatty ordered curtly. On the way to the pier, we encountered a single student from the mechanic program waiting at a bus stop. "Our first year," Fatty said. But Pete, his hot-headed assistant, jumped out and kicked the young mechanic, sending him sprawling to the ground. "Run!" someone shouted. We ran full speed through the dark, narrow alleys. I heard Pipit stumble over a vendor's carrying pole and fall, but I didn't look back. I kept running until I reached the pier, along with John and 3 other friends. "Pipit," I gasped. "He'll catch up on his own," Fatty nodded. "We need to be more careful from now on." That night, on the passenger boat, I watched the flickering lights along both sides of the canal, never imagining that life as a vocational student would be like this. 2 weeks later, I began learning to tuck my shirt out to cover the white belt. It looked messy, but it was safer. In the classroom, room 14, afternoon session friends started forming groups based on their interests. The snooker gang who went to play after school, the movie gang, the football gang, and my gang came together by accident. One day, during a long break, when we had nothing to do, someone suggested, "Let's play football." But there was no ball. There was only a small grocery store across from the alley, next to the school fence, where Uncle sold plastic balls for just a few baht each. Having never played football before, I joined the field just for fun with my friends. But instead of using the inside of my foot like everyone else, I used the pointed tip of my leather shoe and kicked with all my might. Pop, pop, pop. One plastic ball after another burst from my kicks until my friends stopped playing and turned to stare. "Damn, Jimmer," someone uttered. Laughter echoed across the field. "Jimmer, Jimmer," and that was the beginning of the nickname that has stuck with me to this day. My gang was dubbed the Roast Pork Gang by our friends. There were 3 of us. Jimmer, that's me, the kid from Chainat, Chong from Paedru, and Sun from Suphanburi. We were different but got along well. Chong was always the rich kid, the one who paid. Sun was simple but had a tough guy's heart, and me just a country boy trying to adjust. After school, we didn't go home. We'd play takraw until dark, then walk to Soy 11, across from where MBK Center is today. At a small roast pork rice shop, we found more than just food. We found a family. "You come eat every day," the owner, Jayai, smiled broadly. "Aren't you afraid of running out of money?" "Chong's the banker," I replied. Jayai had 2 younger sisters. The elder was named Jai Ngek, and the youngest was named Dao. She was cute with a gentle nature. "Where do you study?" Chong asked Dao the first time. "At a nearby business school," she answered softly. From then on, we went to the shop almost every day, until our respective families started to complain. "I'd rather be with my friends," Son grumbled one day. "My aunt at home is really strict." Jayai overheard and offered, "Would you like to stay and watch the shop? If we tidy up, clearing the tables and chairs, there's enough space to stay." The 3 of us looked at each other, and the following week, we moved out of our old lodgings and into the roast pork rice shop on Soy 11. Life changed completely. We woke up early to help prepare the shop, washing vegetable, preparing the roast pork, setting up the broth pots before putting on our uniform and heading to school. Some days after school, some seniors being chased by the police would run over and toss leftover plastic explosives to us. Hide this for us. We would hide the weapons under the laundry tub before the police arrived and search, finding nothing. Thanks, the senior would whisper before leaving. On quiet evenings at the shop, we and the roast pork rice family would sit in a circle eating dinner together. Why did you choose to study construction trades? Jayai asked one night. My family farms, I replied. I want to build a house for my mom someday. I like seeing buildings rise up from nothing, Son said. As for me, Chong gazed at Dao, who was smiling. I'm just following my heart. Dao blushed slightly. The change. In 1975, the violence between the construction and mechanics students intensified. News of death from both sides emerged. The principal announced that we had to wear civilian clothes to school. Time are changing, Fatih told us one day. But the memories never change. The three of us still lived at the roast pork rice shop. We were still the tightly knit roast pork gang. Until 1976, when we graduated. At the graduation celebration, Chong announced he would marry Dao. Son said he would ask for Jayai's hand in marriage. As for me, the niece of Jayai, whom I secretly liked, had chosen to be with someone else. That's just how life is, Son patted my back. Friends forever, right? Forever, the three of us said in unison. On the path of life, over 40 years have passed. I worked in many places, starting from surveying work, building roads, even laying gas pipelines in the Gulf of Thailand. I eventually became a construction supervisor in Saudi Arabia and finally settled as a design estimator, or what we call a cost estimator. But a great love never came my way again. As for my two friends, Son went to work in Saudi Arabia and became a millionaire, but got into a physical fight with locals and was deported. Back in Thailand, he started a contracting business but was swindled. Now he lives on a welfare allowance and money his son sent him. Do you still remember the roast pork rice shop? He asked me when we last met. I remember everything, I replied. As for Chong, he sold hundreds of acres of land that eventually became today's motorway routes and parts of large industrial estates. He used the money to invest in buying land for mulberry farming and silkworm rearing in Phetchabun. It sounded prosperous until Chinese silk flooded the market. Millions in debt, his wife Dao told me over the phone, her voice trembling. He's too ashamed to see anyone. One morning, I walked back to Soy 11, which is now part of the bustling Siam Square. The red pork rice shop was gone, replaced by a modern coffee shop, but the memories remain. My phone rang. Jim, can you meet? Son is sick. I hurried to the hospital and found Song lying on a bed. Song was already there. Both looked much older than time. The red pork gang is all here, Son said weakly. We held hands like we did in our youth. Remember the time? Song asked. When we ran from the mechanics? I remember everything, friends, I replied. I just found out. Son coughed. That Fig, the one who tripped on the pole that day. He passed away 5 years ago. Silence fell for a moment. Our lives are like that white belt, I said after a long pause. Standing out, painful, but it taught us and helped us find true friends, Song added. And brothers, Son declared. The afternoon sun shone through the hospital window. Our three faces, marked with smiles and wrinkles, looked at each other.